Well, hello there, seventh graders. Good morning. Today we're going to learn all about slope. The slope of the line is how steep a line is. You could have a negative one where it's going down. You could have a positive one where it's going up. And we're going to learn all about it. And we're going to learn how to find slope with a table. So like what we did last week with the table with the X and Y's, we're going to figure out how to take two pairs of coordinate points that are on a coordinate plane, and we're going to find the slope of the line. It is easy. You will need to definitely, for sure, 100% take notes because there's a formula we're going to use, and you need to be able to use it multiple times, so make sure that you're taking notes today, okay, guys? And if you have questions, it's very, very important that you ask them, okay? All right, guys. So we have this. Let me erase this real quick. We have this table, like similar to what we did last week, okay? And we have time and envelope stuffed. Time is done in minutes, and envelope stuffed, I guess, is done in total envelopes. All right, so then we have this coordinate plane over here. It's really fancy. I did a great job. Used a ruler and everything. I mean, can't get any better than that. I'm joking. All right, so this is our x-axis, and then this is my y-axis, okay? So here's our time. These are going to be our x-coordinates, and the bottom is going to be our y-coordinates. All right, so we'll go over, and I have this labeled wrong. Okay, so we'll go 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40. That's going by fives. And then we'll go up by, since this is going 30, we'll go up by 30. That just makes it easy. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, whatever. All right, so we're going to plot these points. So these are my x's, and then these will be my y's, okay? So I'm going to go over to my 5, and I'm going to go up to 30, and I'm making a plot. Then I'm going to go over to 10 and go up to 60 and make a dot or a plot. Then 15 and go up to 90. And then 20 and go up to 120. Now, when I connect these, if I had a really good steady hand, that would be a straight line. This is a straight line. Okay? So we got to figure out the slope. Now, up until now, I don't even know if you guys have learned slope. So here's slope. We need to figure out what is slope. So here it is. This is the line, the change in the line. How is it changing? Well, this one is going up, so we know it's going to be a positive slope because it's not falling, it's rising. And it's going up first and then over, right? So slope is always y over x, or, and you'll hear me say this a million times, the rise of the line over the run. And you'll hear every math teacher say that. They've always said it for years. So it's how the slope of the line, how it's rising, going up, and then the run is going across, because you can't run up, but you can run across, you know. So it's always the y on top of the x. So you need to make sure that you understand that. So when we find slope, how you find it, well, you can count on here, but this is not a good, don't count with Miss Mitchell's graphs. They're pathetic. But we can use these coordinate points. And what it is how to find it is the change in y, over the change in x, okay? All right. So it's how do your y's change over how do your x's change? Well, let's think about this. If you're talking about changing in math, how do we show that something is changing in math? You have 4 operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Obviously, adding is not, it could show a change if you're adding something, but when we're talking about the change in y, it's going to be subtraction, okay? So what we'll do now is we'll pick 2 points. I'm just going to pick these first 2. So these are my x's and these are my y's. So I have to rewrite it. That's me. And I suggest that you guys do that too, but I know you guys don't listen, but I hope you do. Okay, so we have 5 and 30 and 10 and 60, correct? Then here's another thing I have to do. I have to go over here and I have to label X and Y because that's how they are. They're always X comes before Y, right? So I have to label this so I know X becomes before Y. So our change in Y. So here's what you do. You're going to want to write this formula down. You may want to put change in Y over change in X. You're going to want to write this down. Y1 minus Y2 over X1 minus X2. Okay? If you have Y1 first, you better have X1 first. Now, it really doesn't matter if I use this one or this one first. It does not matter as long as you keep your coordinates together. So I always do this. You don't have to. I always label this 1 and then the second one 2. Just helps me keep it together. I don't know why. So now I'm going to plug this in, do a different color. Let me get a different color, guys. Okay. So Y1 minus Y2. Here's my first coordinate, my 1 coordinate. So I'm going to do 30. That's Y1. And then here is 2 minus 60. And then X1. X1, here's my 1. Minus the X2, which is 10. Okay? Now I'm going to have negatives, but that's fine too. That's fine. So what is 30 minus 60? Negative 30. And then 5 minus 10 is negative 5. But we know because of integer rules that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. All right, so this is going to be 30 over 5. And we know that can get smaller too, right? And we know that this can't be a negative slope because the line is going up. So we should know, like, okay, I know I see negatives, but this line is going up. And then that's when you realize, oh, a negative divided by negative is a positive. All right, so let's reduce or simplify because that can get smaller. So 30, and I guess y'all can't really see it very good. 30 over 5, okay? So I'm going to divide them both by 5 because 5 will go into both of them. And 30 divided by 5 is 6, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. So your slope is 6 over 1, and slope is always m, okay? Don't ask me. I did not make this rule. This came way before I was even born. I don't know why, but slope is m. So when you see m, that's looking for slope of the line. Okay, so we have 6 over 1, or you could just say the slope of the line is 6. Okay, so what that means is, well, you can see we start 0, we go up 30 and over 5. Then you go up 30 over 5, up 30 over 5, up 30 over 5. Okay? All right, we're going to do another example. Don't freak out. Okay, guys, welcome back. This time I'm not going to plot the points because I feel like that may have been a little bit too much, but I just wanted to show you that what the slope was on that one. So now we're just going to use this table of baskets to apples. And then I have over here some important stuff. If I were you guys, and I will add this to the cheat sheets, I would be writing this down for today. Of course, I'm going to put it in Google Classroom in the important information and tidbits. So m is equal to slope, and when I'm saying m equals slope, it's when you're talking about slope-intercept form, where it's y equals mx plus b. So the m is the slope, okay? Slope is also rise over run. You've got to go up and down, an arrow, like you're going to go up and down before you go left to right, okay? Or y over x. And then the formula, this is muy importante, very important. y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2, that is the change of y. All right, so we're going to pick 2, and this time I'm going to do it different. I'm going to still pick these 2, but I'm going to make this 4 and 20 and my first set of coordinates, and then I'm going to make 2 and 10 my second. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 and 20, and then 2 and 10, okay? And like we did. Let me get a different color. Like we said a while ago, this is your X and this is your Y's. And you can label this 1 and this 2, okay? I mentally have to do this, especially like, well, you know, like, as I used to tell you about my floaty method. Use this, you know, when you're learning to swim, when you're a child, if you know how to swim, you go out and you have floaties on so you don't drown, right? So you use those floaties to help you stay afloat. When you learn how to swim properly, you can lose the floaties. So I call this the floaty method. When we're doing all these little extra steps, we're using our floaties. When we get comfortable, when we feel good, we can drop the floaties. You don't have to use them. But while your brain is trying to process this, because this is a lot for one day. So while your brain is trying to process this, use the floaties. It's nothing to be ashamed about. Use the floaties. Do all these little extra steps. Rewrite the coordinates out. Eventually you can go, okay, well, I'm going to do 20 minus 10 and 4 minus 2. You'll be fine. You can do that. But for right now, when we're learning, when it's brand new, we're going to do all these little baby steps, okay? All right, so my formula is y1 minus y2. So y1 is right here. These are my y coordinates, and it's the change in this y over the change in the x. How did the x and y coordinates change? That's how you find the slope. It's the change in y on top of the change in x. So here are my y's. So I'm going to do y1, which is 20, minus y2, which is 10, okay, over my change in x's. So here's my x coordinates. So now I got to subtract those. Okay, now 20 minus 10 is 10, and 4 minus 2 is 2. I've got an even on top of an even, so I know that this can get simplified. So I can divide them both by 2, and I will get 5 over 1. So in this case, my slope is 5, or you could say 5 over.
Peyton Wright, please return to the office at this time. Peyton Wright, please return to the office.
Well, I hope Peyton Wright gets there. All right, so if we look at this too, we need to be able to explain this. So what this is basically saying, okay, so here's my x's and here's my y's, right? So you got to remember that this is y and this is x, okay? Or you could say, okay, yeah. So 5 apples for 1 basket, or 10 apples for 2 baskets. So you got to be able to describe that, and plus that also makes it make a little more sense. So I think this is enough for today, because I think this lesson is getting kind of lengthy, and we'll do some practicing on the quizzes assignment. Check out the the slope cheat sheet that has a lot of good information in there, okay? All right, guys, good luck.